Today we're going to be working on a piece of furniture that was my great-grandparents. They bought it in the 1920s and kept it all the way up until she passed away in the early 80s, and it was handed off to another family member, and last year she gave it to me. There's a lot of stuff we're going to have to do to it, a lot of stuff we're going to have to cut off of it, and since we're having to do all that, I'm not going to put it back to the way it originally was. I'm going to try to make it match another piece of furniture that I built a couple years ago. As I take the doors off and I get a little bit better look how they're made, the frame and the panels made out of 1/2-inch plywood. And another thing that I noticed, the print on the back of the plywood that the door's made out of has also got the same print that's on the back panel. So this leads me to believe that they probably did not buy this cabinet brand new when they bought it. They might have bought it in the 20s, but I think it probably needed some work when they bought it. And maybe that's the reason that the print is the same on these two. Maybe he bought it and it needed a door and a back on it, and so he just used what he had. So anyhow, that makes me feel a little bit better about not putting this back the way it looked when I got it and changing the looks altogether. Alright y'all, so we've got the cabinet sanded, we got the trim put around the top, we've made our base for the bottom, and we've also made our feet. Now the way I make feet for most of the cabinets that I build, I just take a 1x4, if it's on a smaller cabinet, cut it to where it is square, so you're going to have a 3.5 by 3.5 inch block. Then take it on the table saw, cut you a 45-degree angle all the way around it, and just screw those to the bottom of the cabinet. Now if you got a larger cabinet, you might want to use a 2x4 to make the foot for it to sit up off the floor just a little bit more. That just depends on the look you want. But anyhow, the last thing we got to do is make the cove molding for the bottom. We've got a few 1x4s that I think will be good to make that out of. And then we got to plug these two holes where the handles was originally at. Not sure what kind of handle we're going to use now, so we're going to go in and plug those. And then the last thing we got to do is paint. So we got a profile cut on each side of the one before with a rounder. And what we do next is take it over to the table saw, cut each side off so we get 2 pieces of molding. One of these we can cut in 2, and those will be for the sides of the cabinet, the other side for the front. And you got to remember, when you are using a bit that has a bearing on it, any imperfection on the edge of this board is going to be transferred to the shape that you are trying to cut. Now, if you are building a rustic piece of furniture like we're doing, that is not going to be as big a deal. But if you're trying to build a nicer piece of furniture, you're going to have to consider that to make sure the edge of this board is cleaned up real good. To get the rustic look we are looking for, we've got 1 good coat of paint on the cabinet. We're going to come back with a dark walnut stain and take a rag and apply that to the whole surface. Now, some of the spots it's harder to get to, we're going to use a foam brush like around the trim and the inside corners. Just beware, the foam brush is going to hold quite a bit of stain, and most of the stain you put on, you're going to have to take back off. But anyhow, once you put the stain on and it sits a few minutes, take another rag and wipe the extra off. This is going to give the cabinet the rustic look that we are looking for. So we are done with the cabinet. The only other thing we done was put the pull on the front, and we put a stop on the inside of the cabinet. That lets the drawer keep from going in so far and letting it stop at a specific spot. And at one point I was going to get rid of the doors that was on it. I think one of my grandfathers made the doors, and they're not made the way you typically make a door. But I think since I still got some paint left over, I'm going to go ahead and finish these to match the cabinets, just in case we want to use them later. And I was told that the cabinet was bought in the 20s, and it probably was bought in the 20s, but I wonder if it was made even earlier than that, because the joinery that normally holds a drawer together is typically dovetails. And this one is held together with a Knapp joint. Some people call it half moon or pin and scallop. First patenting to make that machine was 1867 by Charles Knapp, and they made them all the way up till 1900 and then stopped making the machines. So they could have still been using the machines probably up until parts was obsolete for them to service the machines with. So I'll probably always wonder exactly how old it is. But anyhow, if y'all enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see y'all on the next one.